this is at the end of putting this car together. I actually did a lot of work on this car over the last 9 weeks, a massive amount of work. I did say at the start of when I received this car that I thought it'd be around about 15% left to do. I lied, there's probably about 45 to 50% because all the work that was done on this car had to be done again. I had to rip it out and start again. It was just such a poor attempt at doing reassembly on it. And look, anyway, life moves on. So I've done all that work, and what you're going to see is this car coming back from the start. It looked nothing like this. This is how it is today. It's nearly finished. It's got some testing to do and some final assembly, but I don't want to get too detailed into that. What I want to do is make sure that you, the viewer, can actually have a look at this car from start to finish from the time that I received it, and that's about 9 to 10 weeks. This did go off to the panel shop to get some work done to it, just to correct some things, but I'm going to take on that journey now. So sit tight and have a look at where it all started. That's the finish. Possession of this LC Daytona bronze 1969 GTR, and what I'm going to do with this car is finish that last 15% off. It's spent years to look the way that it looks now, and been in panel shops, and it's been in and out of other areas, and it's not quite finished off. So it's really the last 15% that needs to be done right. I want to take you on a quick tour of some of the things that I've seen that I need to start work on, and I want to get this car back to how it's meant to look. I did a Daytona bronze LC GTR, which is on the front cover of Unique Cars in February this year, and this one's going to be pretty much of a similar standard, but right now it can't be that because it needs a lot of work done to it just to bring it up to that sort of specification of originality, as close as we can get anyway. So I'll just quickly take you on a tour. This is the engine bay. Everything I already started to mark. There are holes that need to be repaired, the holes that shouldn't be there. The heater box is incorrect as far as it needs to be revitalised, and it needs a lot of work just to bring it back up to a standard where it's usable. It has an incorrect wiper motor in it. That's from a Brisbane built car, and this is an Adelaide built car. The battery tray is a LC GTR XU1 tray, so it's not a GTR tray. That needs to be welded back in, and then there's a fair bit of work that needs to happen around the motor area to get that right. Lots of things aren't right on that at the moment, and that's the incorrect booster as well, and the incorrect setup for this year and model of car, because it's a 1969 two-tag original LC GTR with the wood grain steering wheel, so they're only out for a short period of time. Also needs all of its trims put on here. The stainless trims need to go on here as well. For some reason the panel shop took all the little lugs off, not uncommon, and I'll need to drill some holes and put the correct fixings in there so I can put the stainless steel trims on as well. If we walk further around the car, these are clear and they need to be black with the red on them, so I've got to swap those out. I've got a whole heap of parts that I've actually managed to find that was with the car, but there's still bits and pieces that are missing, important bits and pieces as well. For example, these are the rear seat mechanisms, but I'm still missing vital components off of that, which are not going to be easy to find. And I've only got one off certain things like ashtrays and other parts. Looking inside the car, obviously the incorrect steering wheel, but also the incorrect shifter is in it as well. The wiring loom will need to come out. I've left the trims out of here because the GTR badges were actually welded up. I don't know why. They're going to come back out again so that I can get the correct stripes put back on this car. So a fair bit of work needs to happen, and this is going to happen in a short period of time. My estimation is around about 8 weeks that this car will be here for, to get it back to where it needs to be. Got to paint the grille as well and the headlight surrounds. There's a multitude of things that need to take place on this car, but that's what I do. I change these back to what they're meant to look like, and I love doing this job. So today I'm dropping off some parts and picking up some parts. I've got the grille for the Daytona Bronze that's going to the panel shop to get resprayed. Just there's a couple of things fixed on it, and then it will get the Daytona Bronze stripe. No, yeah, I mean, look, probably storage, but you can see it's got really bad scratches on it. So I want to pop this window out, and I've got another window for you, which isn't badly scratched. And it's really easy to pop out and pop in. I can show you.
Oh, yeah,
they're 5-minute jobs to pull out. Okay, so this one's getting worked on pretty quickly. Doors off, door pins are out because it just had bits of rod holding the door pins in. Working my way through with the panel shop on what I wanted to get welded up. That's being done. You would have seen that in the last video. Also got to weld the brackets back on. They get taken off when people try and put triple Webbers on it to smooth it out. Yeah, some of the work is important because the doors are off as well. So the doors have come off, and unfortunately because of the door check straps, they weren't adjusted in my previous video, these things here. We're going to take a little bit off of those just so it shortens it and doesn't open the door as much. Also getting the LJ holes fixed up in here, and they'll blow this back in as well. So, you know, progressing really quickly with these guys, which is great. I've been looking for a different panel shop, and these guys have certainly come to the party. So it's a shout out to Hove Panel Works here in Adelaide, and they're going to fix a couple of these smaller issues that I've got here, but also these these door pins. That's not really a door pin. Anyway, keep watching this one. It'll come out of here in about a week and a half, and it'll come back for its final reassembly. I'm also replacing this back window as well because I didn't like the scratches in it. It'll come together real quick now that they've done this work. This is what I'm waiting for. It's just come back from the panel shop. So some of the previous work that was done by previous undisclosed names, that's the kind of work you're looking at, tech screws. It wasn't great. And I've had to undo a lot of that work, and I'm just redoing it all properly. And you will see over here, this is the surgeon's table. This is the part where everything about the car goes back in that's been restored. So we're just waiting for the car to come back. It only spent a week at the panel shop getting some work done to it, specifically around the engine bay. The engine bay actually had around about 12 different holes floating around it that shouldn't have been there. So what I'm doing is making sure that all that's tidied up. I left the clip holes in for the harnesses, the wiring harness, but also had the original battery tray welded back in and had some brackets put back on it. So today's the day that I actually put it all back together, and I'm kind of looking forward to that because, you know, there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes to make sure that I can present something back to the customer where everything's done. For example, you know, if you look at this rocker cover, it's in immaculate condition, but it's not cheap to get that done. That's $567 to get it re-chromed. You know, it comes out like that. It's beautiful. I couldn't put that back on the car the way that it was. It had a fair bit of work that needed to be done to it, and that's been done. I've got a wiper motor. I actually had a 1969 reconditioned wiper motor because the one that was in it, just turn it around, the one that was in it was stuffed, and I just happened to have one that was reconditioned for that correct month and build of that car. And then there's a lot of stuff that's sort of going on through here: brake lines, reconditioned parts, reconditioned heater box. The cross member that was in it, somebody decided to put a rusty cross member in it, and it just wasn't done right. And it also, which you'll see in a later video, I actually had to get all the mechanisms made up again for these seats. You can't buy them. It's impossible to find. So I've had these bars and mechanisms fabricated and made. And they're meant to look like this over here. But, you know, you're just good luck finding them without the seats. You know, nobody's going to separate them. I think I've only ever seen one pair for sale, and they were $1,000 just for the pair without the seats. But that's what's missing, all this hardware here. So I'm getting those made up, and then I'm going to get them re-zinced. So, you know, it'll all match the car beautifully. Anyway, look, there's going to be some time-lapse photography now, so I'm going to start work on putting everything back together. The grille and light surrounds are sitting over there. That's going to go in first. I'm going to start test fitting everything to make sure it all fits okay, and then I'll be doing final fitment. So you're going to see some of that video footage now. Resprayed. Also had the horns rebuilt and refurbished and tested. They're put back in. Doing a fair bit of work about putting the correct accelerator linkage setup in here because it had a cable set up with tech screws in it, which wasn't great. The heater box is just going in now. I'm just test fitting all of that. Plus I'm also test fitting for around this carby. It's not a correct WW 2-barrel carburetor that is meant to be for this particular car. It still is one, but it's just not the correct part. It's an aftermarket one that can be bought. I've spoken to the customer, they're happy to just keep on using this one because it runs really well. So for now, at this stage, I'll probably leave it in, but I have modified a couple of small things just to make sure that it runs well with the accelerator linkages. There's a fair bit of work taking place around rezinking. I've got some bolts in here that need to go into the subframe. Some people like to have these in gold. I don't mind silver. It's up to the individuals. The master cylinder for the brakes is here. It's the correct date-coded master cylinder to suit this particular car. And I'm just test fitting the brakes now as we speak. And I've had to make some changes to the push rod length in the back because it was all wrong. Wiper motor's in. That's a brand new tested wiper motor. And there's a fair bit more work that's going to take place over the next couple of days with this car, especially about putting the wiring loom back in. I need to finish that off and put it back in, and put the dash in, the under dash, and then test it all. You know, just some more things around the panel shop. They've also fixed the doors. The A-pillars are normally where the doors hit if they've had some body work and you haven't adjusted the door check strap. So I've got those done just because they were just starting to hit, so now they're not hitting. It's an important one when you have a lot of money spent on the bodywork and you don't check that final thing, especially the body shop, if the door's actually hitting the A-pillar, because it's going to take the paint off and you have to respray a fair bit of the front, down the side again to fix that problem. So from here, it's going to be the interior and also the seats. I'm going to finish off pretty much everything, working my way from the front to the back. Once I've done that, I'll put it up on the hoist and then start checking all the running gear and underneath. I know that the front end needs some work and maybe it might need another steering rack. I'm not quite sure yet, I'll get to that. But it's coming together pretty quickly now. This car, yet again, hasn't been here this long. My estimation is it's going to be here for about 8 or 9 weeks in total. And that's not bad considering I stripped everything down on it. It was just a roller. It's been to the panel shop. It's come back and it's now going for its final reassembly. Important things to remember are that it didn't have any seatbelts in the back. Even though the holes were there along the back and on the parcel shelf, there's no threads in there, so I can't put any seatbelts in at all in the back. And they're just going to have seatbelts in the front. I'm actually at the stage of putting the interior back in, so I just want to get the door trims on. I've just put the GTR badges in and screwed them in correctly. And then I want to make sure that I've got all the wiring connected in as well. So wiring has to go in before the seats go in, but I've got to pull this carpet out because this carpet, as you can see here, was not cut to allow for the seats. There's a certain way that was done in the factory, and that's the way that I'm going to do it. But I'll be getting these door trims on first, just put the ashtrays in and pop these door trims back on and then keep working my way through the car. I haven't started this car today. Okay, it's taken a lot of work, but this car's now running